What if getting a second passport didn't require being rich, connected, or spending years waiting in bureaucratic limbo? Most people assume citizenship by investment starts at $1 million or more. But in 2026, there are countries where buying real estate, actual physical property you own, can legally put a new passport in your hands. And in one of the places on this list, the entry price is lower than buying a condo in many mid-sized American cities. And one country on this list has a requirement so unusual, most people react the exact same way. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these 5 programs offer, what they actually cost, and why the investment side of this might be smarter than most people realize. Before the first country, here's something worth understanding. These programs are not donations. They're not fees paid to a government in exchange for a stamp. Every single option on this list involves purchasing real estate, a physical asset that can generate rental income, potentially appreciate in value over time, and in many cases be sold later once program holding requirements are met. That separation is important. It means investors aren't just buying a passport, they're buying property first, and the passport comes with it. Let's get into it. Number 1, Dominica. If the goal is finding the most affordable entry point into citizenship by investment anywhere in the world, Dominica keeps showing up at the top of the list. This small Eastern Caribbean island has built one of the most respected and longest-running citizenship programs in the region, and the minimum real estate investment sits at $200,000 in 2026. That number is striking. For $200,000, an investor can secure a share in an approved development, typically an eco-resort or tourism property, and begin the path toward a full Dominican passport. There is no requirement to physically live in the country, no mandatory residency period, just the investment, the approval process, and eventually the passport. The Dominican passport itself offers visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to well over 100 countries. For someone holding a passport with limited mobility, that alone is a significant upgrade. From a lifestyle perspective, Dominica earns its nickname. It's called the Nature Isle of the Caribbean for a reason. Volcanic peaks, rainforests, hot springs, and diving spots that regularly attract travelers from around the world. The island isn't a mega resort destination, which is exactly why it holds appeal for a certain type of investor. On the real estate side, most approved properties sit inside resort and tourism developments. This matters because many investors are able to rent their units to tourists through the development's management program. That creates a pathway where the investment isn't just sitting dormant. It can work, generating income while the passport application processes. The key catch is that returns vary depending on the specific development, occupancy rates, and management quality. Due diligence on the property itself matters as much as the passport program. But here's what's coming next. The following country on this list carries a benefit that specifically matters to Americans, and it's something almost no other Caribbean passport can offer. Number 2, Grenada. Grenada's citizenship by investment program is frequently described as one of the most strategically valuable in the Caribbean. The minimum real estate investment comes in at $270,000 in 2026. But the number that makes Grenada stand out isn't the price, it's the treaty. Grenada is the only Caribbean nation with an E2 investor visa treaty with the United States. What that means in practice is that a Grenadian passport holder can apply for an E2 visa, which allows them to live and operate a business in the United States. This is a legal pathway that citizens of many other countries simply don't have access to, and it's embedded into what Grenada offers as a citizenship destination. For entrepreneurs, business owners, or investors with significant US interests, this combination is unusually powerful. A Grenadian passport opens doors across more than 140 countries while also creating that US business access pathway. That dual utility is rare. The island itself offers everything the Caribbean is associated with: white sand beaches, clear turquoise water, a calm pace of life, and a warm climate year-round. Grenada is also known for its spice production, giving it a cultural identity that feels grounded and distinct from the more commercialized resort islands nearby. Real estate available through the program includes beachfront villas, resort shares, and luxury developments with active tourism operations. The tourism market in Grenada has grown steadily, and properties in approved developments often participate in rental programs that allow investor income during the holding period. The key condition here is the holding requirement. Most approved real estate must be held for a minimum of 5 years before it can be sold. That's a commitment, not a quick flip. Which brings up an interesting question. Which of these passports feels most realistic so far? The Caribbean lifestyle, the price point, or that US business access angle? That answer might shift after the next country, because number 3 has a requirement built into the program that sounds like a restriction but is actually something most investors end up enjoying. Number 3. Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua and Barbuda's program requires a minimum real estate investment of $300,000 in 2026. That puts it slightly above the 2 Caribbean options already covered. But the structure of this program has a detail that genuinely surprises most people the first time they hear it. Citizens are required to spend at least 5 days in Antigua and Barbuda during the first 5 years after receiving citizenship. That's the rule. 5 days. Over 5 years. Think about what that actually means. The citizenship program requires spending less than a week total in one of the most beautiful archipelagos in the Caribbean. 2 islands, over 365 beaches, luxury resorts, sailing culture, clear warm waters, and one of the most relaxed and scenic environments in the entire Atlantic basin. What sounds on paper like a legal obligation is, in reality, a forced Caribbean vacation. And most people who go once don't find it difficult to justify going back. This framing shift is something worth sitting with. The program's requirement isn't a burden, it's a reason. The Antiguan and Barbudan passport grants visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to more than 150 countries, including the United Kingdom and the broader European Schengen zone. That travel mobility is substantial. Real estate in the program covers beachfront developments, luxury resort shares, and high-end villa projects. Given the island's reputation as a destination for yacht culture and high-income tourism, occupancy and rental demand for quality properties tends to be strong. Investors in the right development can see their property generating income through tourist rentals while the 5-year holding requirement runs its course. The main condition is that 5-year holding period on the real estate itself. The property cannot be sold until that window closes. But paired with the rental income potential, most investors treat that window as an operational phase rather than a waiting period. When scouting these kinds of properties in person, accommodation costs and hotel options can be explored through the Expedia link in the description below. The next country has one of the fastest approval timelines in the Caribbean. For investors who want to move quickly, that speed factor changes the conversation. Number 4. St. Lucia. St. Lucia's Citizenship by Investment program shares the same $300,000 minimum real estate investment threshold as Antigua and Barbuda. But what distinguishes this program in 2026 is its processing timeline. From application submission to passport issuance, St. Lucia's program typically runs between 8 and 12 months. In the world of citizenship by investment, where some programs can stretch to 2 years or longer, that pace stands out. For investors with a specific timeline in mind, whether related to tax planning, travel access, or business structure, an 8 to 12-month window gives a reasonably clear path forward. The St. Lucian passport offers strong mobility, with access to over 150 countries visa-free or on arrival, including the Schengen area and the United Kingdom. The program itself has built a stable and consistent reputation, with transparent approval criteria and clear documentation requirements. St. Lucia as a destination needs little introduction to anyone familiar with Caribbean travel. The twin Piton peaks rising out of the water are among the most photographed landscapes in the entire region. The island blends natural dramatic scenery with a sophisticated tourism infrastructure that draws visitors consistently throughout the year. Real estate available through the program is typically concentrated in approved resort developments and high-end hospitality projects. Given the island's consistent draw as a luxury travel destination, properties in these developments tend to benefit from reliable tourist traffic and managed rental programs. The stable reputation of the program is worth emphasizing. St. Lucia's Citizenship by Investment framework has maintained consistent government backing and professional administration, which matters for due diligence and long-term confidence in the investment. A useful practical note: Comparing flight prices when scouting these islands or managing travel between countries can be done using the Kiwi link in the description, which aggregates options across multiple carriers. Now here's the shift. Every country on this list so far has been in the Caribbean. Small island lifestyle, resort real estate, warm weather year-round. The final option on this list is something entirely different, and the scale of the difference is significant. Number 5. Turkey. Turkey's Citizenship by Investment program requires a minimum real estate purchase of $400,000 in 2026. That's the highest entry point on this list. But the asset being purchased is not a share in a resort development on a small island. It's real estate in one of the largest and most dynamic property markets in the world. Istanbul alone is a city of over 15 million people. Turkey sits at the intersection of Europe and the Middle East, with major cities, a sophisticated transport network, a growing technology sector, and a real estate market that spans everything from Istanbul apartments and coastal villas to commercial developments in emerging urban corridors. This is not a passport tied to a small island lifestyle. The Turkish passport in 2026 provides visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to over 100 countries. It also comes with access to a country that is a significant regional power with a complex and rich cultural identity that spans thousands of years of history. For investors, the Turkish real estate market has attracted enormous international interest over the past decade. Istanbul in particular has seen consistent demand from buyers in the Middle East, Central Asia, Europe, and increasingly from global investors specifically pursuing the Citizenship program. Many investors purchase apartment units in established or emerging Istanbul neighborhoods, where professional rental management companies can handle short and long-term letting to generate income during and after the holding period. Would you prefer a Caribbean island or a major global city? Turkey represents the case for the latter, clearly and completely. The holding requirement for the program is 3 years. After 3 years, the property can be sold while the investor retains citizenship. That resale possibility creates a scenario where the investor holds an appreciating asset, potentially earns rental income across that window, and then has the option to exit the real estate position while keeping the passport permanently. The key considerations for Turkey differ from the Caribbean options. Currency dynamics, local market conditions, developer credibility, and legal structure of property ownership all require careful attention. Working with established real estate professionals experienced specifically in the citizenship program is important here. The market is large and active, which is an advantage, but scale also means that poor due diligence carries real risk. The contrast with every Caribbean option is stark. Dominica is $200,000 and a quiet nature island. Turkey is $400,000 and one of the world's most historically significant cities. Both paths lead to a passport. The lifestyle, the asset class, and the strategic use cases are completely different. Here's the core idea that ties all 5 of these countries together. Citizenship by investment through real estate is not the same as paying a fee. The money going into these programs is going into physical property. Property that can be rented, property that may appreciate, property that, in several of these programs, can eventually be sold. The passport is the outcome, but the investment itself has independent value. That distinction separates these 5 programs from donation-based citizenship options, where the money is simply gone once transferred. Real estate-backed programs ask for more upfront capital in most cases. But the asset doesn't disappear. It sits in a market potentially growing, potentially producing income, while the citizenship process moves forward. For the Caribbean options, the lifestyle benefit is real and not just a talking point. A beachfront villa in a managed resort development in Grenada or St. Lucia isn't just a passport vehicle. It's a property in a market with active global tourism, strong seasonal demand, and genuinely attractive destinations that continue to draw visitors year after year. For Turkey, the investment sits inside a massive, liquid, internationally active real estate market. The upside potential and the risks are both larger than any Caribbean option, but the scale of the asset and the depth of the country are proportionally different. So which of these 5 makes the most sense? That depends entirely on the investor's goals. Someone prioritizing lowest cost gets Dominica. Someone with US business interests looks hard at Grenada. Someone who wants to be required to take Caribbean vacations with a smile considers Antigua and Barbuda. Someone who needs speed looks at St. Lucia's 8 to 12-month window. Someone who wants a major global city and a resaleable asset after 3 years evaluates Turkey seriously. None of these decisions should be made quickly. Every program has documentation requirements, due diligence processes, approved investment lists, and government fees on top of the real estate purchase itself. An immigration attorney familiar with these specific programs is a necessary part of the process, not an optional one. But the fundamental possibility exists, and it's real. Buying property abroad isn't just about lifestyle. It's not just about saying there's a beach villa somewhere in the Caribbean. In these 5 countries, a real estate purchase is a legal path to a new passport, expanded travel access, and in several cases, entirely new business or residency options. The idea that second citizenship requires either enormous inherited wealth or a decade of waiting is simply not accurate anymore. These programs exist. The requirements are documented. The costs are known. And for an investor willing to move thoughtfully and work with the right professionals, the pathway is clear. That's the list. 5 countries, 5 real estate minimums ranging from $200,000 to $400,000. 5 passports that open different doors depending on what the investor is actually trying to unlock. Drop a comment below. Which country surprised you the most? Was it Grenada's E2 treaty angle, Antigua's 5-day vacation rule, Turkey's 3-year resale option, or something else entirely? The comment section is the right place for that conversation. And if this kind of content is useful, the next video covers a country where residency can be obtained for far less, without the full citizenship commitment. See you in the next one.